Hey guys, Cecil here once again. Hey, in today's video I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a look back on the Wii, take a look at my collection since I've kind of got it all in a nice spot, and I can kind of show off what I've accrued over the last 6 years of owning the console. Today is Sunday morning, the 18th of November. The Wii U is launching today, so over the last few days and week or so, with the console almost out, it's kind of made me think back about the original Wii, a lot of memories I had with it, and I just kind of wanted to share that and share, what I picked up over the last 6 years of owning it. I picked up my Wii a week after it launched in 2006. I got in on a second batch at Best Buy here in town. I picked up Zelda Twilight Princess and one other game, I believe, with it, and another controller and nunchuck. And yeah, it's been a great console. I've underrated in my opinion. I think a lot of people, online just kind of write it off as just not worth owning just because it wasn't HD, didn't have a lot of the games that the PS3 and 360 had, and I would say that if you... I could have been just fine this gen with just being a Wii only owner. I do have a PS3 and a 360, but if I only had one console, and it was the Wii, I would have been just fine. There was enough for me, personally, for me to find and play. And as you can see, I picked up a decent number of games for the console, and I just wanted to share some of those and, talk, quickly each about them a little bit. In some of the boxes and, collector's editions that I picked up. Just kind of starting over there in the corner. It's Mario Kart Wii, pretty straightforward, just came with the wheel, which is just a chunk of plastic in the game. It's a decent version of Mario Kart, not the best, not the worst. The Monster Hunter 3 bundle right there came with the black classic controller in the game. Spent a couple hundred hours on that, grinding and, improving my armor and weapons. It's a fun little game. I'm kind of looking forward to the HD version of that 3G that'll be coming out next year for the Wii U. GoldenEye 007 with the golden controller, a pretty good remake of GoldenEye, not so much maybe comparatively to the N64 since it was a different company who did it, but it was still a fun little FPS. The Zelda bundle for Skyward Sword with the gold controller and everything, a pretty good, pretty solid Zelda game. I liked it a little better than Twilight Princess, but they're pretty comparable, at least in quality. The Super Mario All-Stars Collector's Edition, pretty much... this was a little disappointing in the fact it's basically just Super Mario All-Stars, the SNES game, the ROM pressed onto a disc, and it came with like the soundtrack, a basic soundtrack, and some packaging. Kind of lazy. I mean, they're kind of sort of hard to track down these days, but it was worth picking up just for the fact, I suppose, for its rarity. It was only $30. It's not like they were charging an arm and a leg for it, but still kind of a lazy 25th anniversary edition compared to like the Kirby 20th anniversary edition. Endless Ocean Blue World. Pretty straightforward on that one. I forget what that came with. Was that the Wii Speak, or I forget what was in that box. It was either that or... Damn, I do not remember what that came with. But it was the collector's edition box. I'll have to go look at that real quick. It's been a while since I played it, but really, really good. The original Endless Ocean and Blue World are really good games. Giant aquarium games, a lot to find, a lot to explore. Really, really good graphics for the Wii. The Epic Mickey Collector's Edition just came with like the Mickey statue, a few other things, and that's the little paintbrush nunchuck accessory next to it. Wii Sports Resort and Wii Play. The Wii Sports Resort came with the two Wii Motion Plus adapters for to augment your Wiimotes, and the Wii Play just came with the free. It was like $50, so it was like for an extra $10 you got the game and a Wiimote. So that came out shortly after the Wii launched, and it was for, what if you're looking for an extra controller, that was worth picking up. Going down here, the fishing, that's the fishing resort with the rod, adapter and everything, kind of like the Wii Zap, where it's not a requirement, but it just kind of gives you that more of a realistic feeling. Xenoblade, and with the pre-order bonus, great RPG. Same with the last story and the soundtrack. Again, really, really great RPGs. Animal Crossing is pretty straightforward. Just a lot of collecting, a lot of grinding as far as, collecting stuff so you can, get more bells to upgrade your house, find items. It's a really good game. I don't have a lot of friends on that one, unfortunately. So I didn't get a chance to visit a lot of people's different houses and towns, unfortunately. And down here, I picked up the original Wii Fit with the balance board, and I picked up Wii Fit Plus later down the road. The Wii Sports and Link's Crossbow Training, these actually originally were, these came with just the cardboard sleeves, and I got sick of having the cardboard sleeves for both Crossbow Training and the original Wii Sports, so I just went on eBay, and for a couple of bucks, you can probably still find them. These are make cases, with original box art. So just so I had solid plastic cases for the Lynx Crossbow Training in the Wii Sports Resort, I wanted to have that instead of using those crummy cardboard sleeves. So now I've got actual physical jewel plastic cases, DVD cases for those instead of just those crappy cardboard sleeves. So it's good to have that. So like I said, if you want to pick those up, if you have either of those games or any other Wii game like New Super Mario Brothers Wii that came in those crappy cardboard sleeves, there's make cases on eBay and other places. They're pretty inexpensive, so worth picking up. Kind of looking at the spines here, if we can see it okay. The two Kirby games, the Kirby 20th Anniversary Collection and the Kirby Return to Dreamland, both very solid Kirby games. Muramasa, the Demon Blade, a really, really great little 2D action RPG, very, very beautiful hand-drawn graphics. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, the Crystal Bears, fun little action RPG. Really doesn't have much to do with the original Crystal Chronicles so much. Was a lot of fun. I think very underrated. It's dirt cheap nowadays. Okami, not much needs to be said about that game. Great action. Very beautiful cel-shaded graphics. Cooking Mama, pretty straightforward. It's making food. Sonic and the Secret Rings. It was all right. This was back in the mid-2000s when Sonic games were pretty eh. It started bringing Sonic in the right direction, but it's by no means perfect. A Boy and His Blob I talked a little bit about in my In Defense of Wii video. Great 2D, very, very, very fun little platformer. A lot of different levels, a good variety of enemies, beautiful hand-drawn graphics. Reminds me a lot of Studio Ghibli. Rune Factory Frontier, just kind of a futuristic Harvest Moon. A lot of fun. This is an Arcade Classics compilation. Comes with Gunblade and LA Machine Gun, a couple of Sega arcade shooters ported to the Wii. A lot of fun. Dokapon Kingdom. Haven't had a chance to play this one yet. Heard good things about it. Tenchu Shadow Assassins. Not bad. Fun little, Tenchu is Tenchu stealth ninja game. Fishing Master World Tour. Just a fun little anime-style fishing game. Excite Truck, really, really, really fun driving game. This was the other Wii launch title I picked up, now that I remember. A really, really fun action game, well worth having in your collection. Kind of sort of hard to track down since they were stopped being pressed after about a year after the game came out, so you might have a slight trouble finding a used copy. Marble Saga Corpina, or Corinpa, sorry. Fun little, kind of Marble Madness style, almost RPG kind of, sort of. Fishing Master, just the first version of the Fishing Master series. The World Tour was the sequel. Klonoa, just a reboot of the original PS1 game, a remake. The Pikmin games, pretty straightforward on what those are. Wii Music, I know it gets kind of bashed. In the grand scheme of things, I remember that E3 2008, Nintendo got a lot of flack for this. I picked it up dirt cheap. I wouldn't have paid full price for it, but for, as simple and basic as it is, it's a fun little time waster. The House of the Dead game's pretty straightforward. Shooting zombies, rail shooter. WarioWare smooth moves, and, just your WarioWare game on the Wii. Wario Land Shake It, a lot like the Wario Land series on the Game Boys and the GBA. Fun little Wario platformer. Very, very, really, really, really beautiful hand-drawn graphics on this one. The Resident Evil games, RE4 Wii Edition, and the Cube port of the remake. Pretty straightforward on what those are. Brawl and the Monkey Ball games, again. I would say out of the two Monkey Ball games, I like Step and Roll a little bit more than Banana Blitz. I think the Monkey Ball series has kind of taken a hit in the last several iterations. They just haven't been as good as like Monkey Ball 1 and 2 on GameCube. I don't know if that's just because Amusement Vision isn't around to do them anymore, and Sega's just kind of crapping them out on every new system they'll put one out. They're not bad. The single player is still a lot of fun, but the multiplayer Like on the original Monkey Ball, it was always like Monkey Race and Monkey Target were the fun ones, and the multiplayer on these, it just seems like it's gone way downhill. Twilight Princess, pretty much, the big first real worthwhile Wii launch title, was a lot of fun. Mario Galaxy and Mario Wii, pretty straightforward. Super Paper Mario, all the really classic Mario games and your Mario pseudo RPG on the console. I liked Super Paper Mario. It gets a lot of hate just because it wasn't more of the turn-based traditional style RPG. But I enjoyed it for what it was. If you don't mind reading a lot of text in a Mario game, it's a lot of fun. I like the switching from the 2D to the 3D. Mad World, very violent, kind of black and white, but lots of blood. Very violent action game. Sin and Punishment, the sequel, a really really fun shooter. If you like the original Sin and Punishment, this is well worth picking up the sequel. Dirt cheap. Tatsunoko versus Capcom. There's your versus fighting game on the Wii. Easily on par, in my opinion, with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Capcom actually isn't able to sell this anymore because they didn't renew their Tatsunoko license. So this one might become slightly harder to find now since it's not going to be in print anymore. So if you see this used somewhere for cheap, I'd recommend picking it up. Knight's Journey to Dreams. Disappointing would be what I would say this, considering, the amount of hype that everyone was hoping for a Knight sequel, and we finally got it. And graphically, it's great, but the gameplay, unless you played the original Knights, it's kind of hard to explain why this was so disappointing to Knights fans. It's dirt cheap. It's well worth trying if you like the original Knights, but don't expect it to be as good as the Saturn version. Endless Ocean, again, giant aquarium game, lots to see. Not the deepest game, but if you want to learn about the ocean and shit, Endless Ocean is great. Silent Hill Shattered Memories, kind of freaky. Silent Hill, pretty straightforward. The Rabbids games, I've only got 2 of them. The first, Rayman Raving Rabbids, which is kind of the party game and everything, not really worth. I mean, it's dirt cheap nowadays. There was the 2 other sequels to it. Rabbids Go Home is my favorite Rabbids game. The platforming that was in this, a lot of fun, crazy, over the top. I can't recommend this one enough. I love it if you love platformers on the Wii. Very underrated. Lost in Shadow. I talked about this one in my In Defense of Wii video. Very reminds me a lot of like a 2D Shadow of the Colossus style. At least in the graphics department. Very, very pretty. Very underrated. One of Hudson's last big games before they unfortunately went under. Little King Story. Talked about this one in my In Defense of Wii video. Great little RPG for the Wii. A lot of fun. Valhalla Knights, that was an XSEED title. I actually have not had a chance to really play it yet. I've heard mediocre things about it. Nothing stellar, but it's an XSEED title, so I figured I'd pick it up. And kind of down here is kind of my crappy Wii games. I picked up in the bargain bin, dirt cheap. The Ultimate Shooting Collection. This one was actually a port of a few different games. It's Karos and Radirji. These were actually originally Dreamcast games that were ported to GameCube, and they were brought out on a compilation on a Wii disc. This is dirt cheap. Picked it up. I figured because just wanted to have another version of Radirji and Karos that wasn't on the Dreamcast that I could play it pretty easily, so I decided to pick that up. And then just kind of over here, Saint, a crummy little 2D shooter, SNES-style graphics. It's pretty disappointing. Heavenly Guardian, kind of a little 2D action game, nothing stellar. Rygar, it's pretty straightforward. This is actually a port of the PS2 game. Wasn't bad, wasn't great. Far Cry Vengeance is fucking terrible. I got this for like $2 just to see how bad it was. I don't mind if a game is terrible. And I can find it for cheap, like a couple of bucks. I don't mind spending on that because a bad game can be entertaining in its own right, just as much as a good game can. A good game can be. And I say that just because it's good to laugh at. And Dragon Blade and Spy Games Elevator Mission, just terrible games, avoid at all costs. But for the cheap amount of money I paid for them, they're good for a laugh, just to see how bad some of the shovelware on the Wii can be. And then kind of coming over here, I know this video is getting a little long. I'll just try to finish this up real quick. Fling Smash was a game that required the extra Wiimote just to have a Wiimote Plus. That's why I picked that one up. Kirby's Epic Yarn, simple, easy, another Kirby game, great. Ivy the Kiwi, great little puzzle platformer. Skycrawlers, a great airplane shooter from XSEED, well worth picking up if you can find it. Fragile Dreams, another RPG from Xseed. Same thing with Archives Fantasia. Two really good underrated RPGs. The Metroid games on the Wii. Other M. I liked Other M. It wasn't bad. The story was a little but for an action game from Team Ninja, I can see where people had issues with it. But I thought it was a worthwhile. I mean, it's dirt cheap nowadays. You can find it for $10. Well worth picking up. I wouldn't have paid $50 for it, but for the $10-15 I paid for it, well worth getting. And just kind of finishing up here, there's just the Metroid Prime trilogy, probably the rarest or most valuable Wii game that's hard to find nowadays. It was a very limited run of this. The Conduit, a good kind of the Wii version of Halo. That would be the best way to describe it. Pretty decent graphics. It's a decent little shooter on the Wii. And then just Trauma Center. It's pretty straightforward. Dragon Quest Shadows, kind of a first-person perspective kind of RPG. Kind of disappointing considering it's a Dragon Quest game, but not anywhere near as good as like Dragon Quest 7 or 8, but still pretty fun. Excite Bots, which is kind of the sequel to Excite Truck. Just, Excite Truck with, custom robots. It's a lot of fun. Samba wasn't a great port of the Dreamcast version is still better than this. The reaction with the Wii controller and Wii nunchuck isn't the best, but I'm not surprised Sega brought it out. Tales of Symphonia, a decent sequel to the original Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube. Mario Kart Wii's pretty straightforward. Donkey Kong Country Returns, a great sequel to the SNES Donkey Kong Countries. Hard as balls, but really, really fun, at least in the later levels. Geometry Wars Galaxies, pretty straightforward. SSX, Poke Park Wii, a Pikachu platformer. And you gotta, help other Pokemon. There's a lot of different little mini games you can play. Rhythm Heaven Fever, from the same guys who did the WarioWare series. Just a rhythm action game. Well worth picking up. It's cheap now. Budokai 3 Dragon Ball Z, kind of hard to find nowadays. It's worth a little bit, at least the Wii version is, but it's a pretty good action game, or fighting game if you like Dragon Ball. Rayman Origins, very, very fun little 2D platformer, underrated, didn't sell very well initially. Now that it's $20, most places it's well worth picking up. Definitely looking forward to Rayman Legends on the Wii U when that comes out next March. And Sonic Colors, best Sonic game on the Wii, bar none. Definitely that and Sonic Generations. Last couple of Sonic games have actually been pretty solid from Sega. Well worth picking up if you haven't had a chance, if you can find them cheap. And the Bit Trick games from Gaijin Games. That's all the WiiWare games on one disc for $20. It was like a no-brainer. Well worth picking up. Great game. Comes with a soundtrack too. So that's kind of a quick look over at the Wii. I apologize that this video got drug out a little bit. I probably shouldn't have spent so much time just, kind of looking at each game. But again, I just wanted to share what I've picked up over the last 6 years. I will be doing an unboxing video of my Wii U later today, and I'll post that video in a little bit as well. But I just wanted to have a video up this morning that I could share with everybody, and I just wanted to show everything. I'm not done collecting for the Wii. I'm still going to pick up games for it afterwards, because there's actually a lot of games I still want to get. But this is what I picked up so far, and I will definitely still be adding to it. But I'm looking forward to the new HD Nintendo console. Otherwise, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you next time.